I have been sneezing constantly since I put out the tweet saying that I'm going live, but I can't hold it in forever. So we're gonna do our best with what we were giving. We're back to Phantom Brigade tonight, and let me just make sure I got my quality options, which I do. Um, I've been really looking forward to this. It feels like it's been a lot longer than a week since I played this lately, but I don't know. I was really happy after yesterday's or not yesterday, after last week's stream. I think partly it's super nice to have some of the Brace Yourself people come in because when I get a chance to catch them on their stream, you get an idea of the personalities and how cool they all are. But obviously, to have them in my side, it's just gives me a little extra pep. On top of course, all of the other very nice people who come by on a very regular basis. And you know what? I didn't do the early access message last time, so let's get that through now. Early access. Welcome to the Brigade. We're excited for you to experience Phantom Brigade and to have your help shaping its development during its early access period. During the course of development, some aspects of the game might feel rough, sparse, or buggy. Every month, we'll release a major update, which will include bug fixes, new features, and quality of life improvements for players. We appreciate your patience and feedback throughout this process as we work to deliver the most important features and fixes. From the main menu, check out our early access roadmap to see what's coming next for Phantom Brigade, reach out to us via the Brace Yourself Games Discord community, or read the latest patch notes for the latest changes and known issues. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and we look forward to making Phantom Brigade better and better with your help. Seizure warning. A very small percentage of people may experience a seizure when exposed to certain visual images, including flashing lights or visual patterns. These seizures may have a variety of symptoms, including lightheadedness, altered vision, eye or face twitching, jerking or shaking of arms and legs, disorientation, confusion, or momentary loss of awareness. Immediately stop playing and consult a doctor if you experience any of these symptoms. If you or any of your relatives have a history of seizures or epilepsy, it is recommended that you consult a doctor before playing. Powered by... I don't know if it's Wise or W-Wise. And I'm hoping... in my headphones the game is actually a little bit loud, but I suspect it will be fine on Twitch. There seems to be a nice little... Hey, Dells, how you doing? Actually, just because you're here, is the game-to-voice ratio all right? I have them set to what they were last week, so they should be all right. But the game is a little loud in my headphones, which is fine because you already know I love the soundtrack and I love the audio experience, full stop. But I do want I do want to strike the right balance. We've already gone over the roadmap, but while I get the answer to that, just a reminder that we are currently in the September update, so this was the third of the campaign updates, which gave us some rarities for the workshop projects, updated the art, or added the art for the thermal weapons, some narrative events. Actually, it's not just the thermal weapons art, there's a bunch of visual stuff. Sound good? Excellent. And this brings me to the important point, which should be said whenever I stream these kinds of games, and I know a lot of you get very tired of hearing this. I was given a copy of this game from, excuse me, from Brace Yourself Games. They're a Canadian developer. I think they're awesome and incredibly friendly. So this is the same developer that made Crypt of the Necrodancer and then Cadence of Hyrule for Switch. They've now put Industries of Titan out on Steam, and then Phantom Brigade. And to be completely honest, if these people were to have some egos, I don't really think I could blame them. But they're so nice too. I'd hate them for it, because it seems they're good at everything, except that you can't hate them. I actually saw a blog post from Ryan Clark, the founder, and talking about their, I guess, 20% time. and you actually get to see some demonstrations of some of the things that the team has done from it, and it's just, across the board. It's not just that they're really good at their assigned jobs, but it seems like they just kind of, not effortlessly, obviously, 20% time, it's, specifically taking some time, but they seem to really have this excellence across a number of different fields. So I don't know. Do we call them the Pixar of video games? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's appropriate or not. But either way, obviously I'm a huge fan, independent of the fact that I was given the key. But it is important to disclose that stuff. We've done it off the top, and now that that's out of the way, let me say all of you should go out and buy this game at full price. It's actually the start of my weekend, too. So federally, there is Truth and Reconciliation Day, which is a recognition of the grievous human rights abuses from, the government of Canada to the Indigenous population over history. It's a federal holiday, so yeah, but they keep making, like, hits, and like they've got a massively deep talent pool. So but yeah, I'm a federal employee, or at least I count as one, so I have tomorrow off, but I also, my workplace has been poking me to take vacation days, so I decided to take the Friday off as well, which means I get a nice 4-day weekend starting today, which might mean I stream a little bit later, but let's not make any promises yet. So if I recall correctly, we have liberated this area. I'm going to try and get a little bit of the, get a bit of a view in terms of these areas that I haven't seen inside of the province. But I have been kind of on this pattern of going for the kind of the highest level regions that I can go to. And given the fact that we went from a level 1 to level 7 without too much trouble, I sort of feel like we should be able to a Halo CE holiday? I don't know what you mean by that. Sorry, I'm only just starting to play Halo now that I have an Xbox, so I have a lot of catching up to do with that series. I see. But yeah, so it's in this case, I went from level 1 to level 7, so I would sort of expect that a level 7 to level 10 wouldn't be as bad. But I mean, let's face it, I've been riding the crew a bit hard lately. So we'll see where it goes. Again, I'm going to take a little bit of a meandering route just to try and see if there's anything hiding in my borders. There is not, so we are going to work potentially on the convoy. We'll see what happens. Gotcha. Yeah, so the Truth and Reconciliation Commission was basically a commission put together specifically to sort of investigate it. What specifically has... I mean, I don't want to spend too much time talking about this because we have talked about it before, and the biggest thing is that I do not have all of the facts present at hand. And if you're going to talk about something serious like this, it is helpful not to be responsible for spreading misinformation. But suffice to say that there is a long and very unfortunate history in terms of my government's relations with the people who were living here before Canada, the nation as we know it, existed. And particularly the events that sparked the national holiday and the the specific sort of the specific concern. I mean, the flags are still at half-mast as a result of this. Is a number of groups have been paying for some technology to investigate burial sites around what was known as the residential school system. And this is particularly a school system that was sort of designed to take Indigenous children and sort of westernize them, to sort of divorce them from their roots. And at these sites, they have been discovering bodies. So essentially, children who were mistreated and died from their, either the disease, the conditions there, and when you find one, that's going to lead to other investigations. And sure enough, other investigations have turned up more bodies. And I am reluctant to say the numbers just because there was a while where... This is a very awkward one to point out. So there was a site that was found, and I saw a lot of people on Twitch saying that it was some thousands of children found, and I do not believe that that was true. I believe that was the number of bodies found in the burial site, not all of which were children. The thing is that that's not the time to be splitting those hairs, right? One child is too much. And that's ultimately the circumstances under which we find ourselves in Canada at the moment. It's something that there's been inadequate education for, and it has been a very slow process to sort of recognize, the government's part in that role. So that's sort of... There are a number of recommendations that have come from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, but at this point, sort of, there is now a recognized holiday to mark, the effort of the truth, which, given the number of disputes that are still coming up over the role of the residential school system, among others, including Canadian senators, that part still needs to be said and agreed upon. And then there's the reconciliation job, where, you would naturally expect not only that there be a recognition of what was done in the past, but an effort to make amends and to sort of fulfill the promise of the country that we have. Because this is the one thing that kind of bugged me about what was happening during the campaign. There's a lot of talk about, having respect for the nation, or, bringing the flags back up and things like that. But I'm not entirely sure, the nationalist framing is quite the best one for that issue. Because to me, it would seem to be that the residential school system and the issues kind of coming through coming through these discoveries and sort of a recognition of our own past is the failing of Canada to live up to this ideal that I've sort of grown up with. It's a little bit like how I have a really hard time in a lot of American politics when people are sort of playing loose with the idea of democracy, or sort of questioning whether or not it's worthwhile. It's not to deny that there are not inequalities inside of the United States, but rather I feel that the status quo is a reflection of it not living up to that ideal, as opposed to the ideal being unattainable. And I mean, I've noticed over time that there are more and more people who kind of question the sort of the bedrock, that there seems to be sort of this idea of sort of this irredeemable core. And maybe it's just supreme optimism on my side that I feel that. But I do think when it comes... Again, I hesitate to go into too much depth of this, just simply because, like I said, I do not have all the facts at hand. And given that I think there is a very strong propensity to mislead people, not even necessarily through malicious intentions, but just simply through not having the facts at hand. It's important to discuss, but it's also important to make sure that I'm not undermining the truth half of the equation. But in the end, that's sort of how I've been able to sort of stake that middle path, right? Which is to say that I do think there is something worthwhile in my nation and the ideals founding it. But I also feel secure enough in those ideas that I need to recognize those times that it has not lived up to it. in a hope that it can sort of have this more full, full realization of it. I would not be interested in living in a country that sort of essentially rests on this terrible foundation and does not want to acknowledge it. Anyways, my apologies for those of you. I mean, this is the thing, right? I don't want to shy away from sort of the darker or the more controversial material, but I know you all didn't sign up for this as well. And like I said, I don't want to spend too much time on things that I don't sort of have the facts at hand for. But in particular, if you're Canadian and you have tomorrow off, it may not be a bad time to. I certainly intend to take some time to read up a little bit more, and it's something that should be discussed. Olaf, thank you very much for the host. It is lovely to see you as well. And we are ready for Monument 100, the Outpost raid. This is the one challenge of bringing up stuff like this, too. It's like, how do I say, and now onto your regularly scheduled game? No, I mean, like, obviously, there's no good transition. Brico X, thank you very much for the host. How you doing? A resupply post. They are often well guarded and units are eager to call for reinforcements if attacked. Raids with retreat points allow for loot without having to eliminate all hostiles. We're going to suit up. Okay, what's the deal here? Oh, yes. Okay, so this is because this one is the big gun. This one doesn't actually have a sidearm yet. So let's see if we can equip one. Oh wow, we got a lot of stuff. Okay. It's not that heavy. That's an appeal. The compact launcher has about the same weight as well. I actually kind of like the idea of... Oh, but the handgun is even less. Okay, yeah. I normally had like a pure melee focus, but I actually like the idea of having a sidearm for this thing. Okay, so the gavel is ready to go. Should take a second here to see if there's any other... I don't really have a lot of light frames, so I think probably I'm just going to have to leave it be. Yeah, we're not switching that out. I think we're going to leave it as is for now. I am, however, going to make some potential adjustments to the hammer. Alright, so I'm probably never going to replace that body. Wait, I don't have an even bigger... No. So it's lighter, but doesn't really help me defense-wise. Right arm... Oh, this is interesting. So we lose some of the barrier, but we've got better mass and heat dissipation, so we're definitely going to switch that out. Lower body, we've got these light knocks. This is not an improvement, so we just got to adjust the livery, and then we are good to go. I think it's Field A that we use on this one. Okay, my apologies, by the way. I think I have some allergies or something, so I'm gonna try not to sniffle too much on the cast. So before I go too far into it, let's just see what we're bringing. So I do like the gavel was a real hero last time. The hammer I'm a little more reluctant to bring along just because it is a big, slow moving. Like it's awesome if I can like just sit down and just spray everything, but. Well, you know what? What I've got so far actually hasn't been all that bad. So let's start by just improving the existing team. So this is a 2M upper. That's not going to work for me. Unless I've got a better shield, I'm not that interested. This is the Hurricane machine gun, so I think we're going to leave that be as well. Any better arms? So we are using a Nox light arm. Better integrity, but heavier. So I'm currently at 11. I want to see what happens to this. I'm probably going to switch it out. Oh yeah, you know what? I'm almost certain. No, yeah. If anything, this... I will use this on a mech, possibly. But this doesn't work for me at all, simply because this is the arm with the shield. If anything, I want it to be on the other arm. So the right... Oh yeah, I should probably be looking at the subsystems too. Well, I don't have any... Ah, okay, it's because of the hollowed plating, so... okay, so my right arm, on the other hand, is this big bruiser. Oddly enough, the light... Oh, of course, because it's a level 9 replacing a level 2 part, so... That doesn't require a whole lot of unpacking. And it looks like this Nox arm strictly dominates, so... Okay, let's go for... Again, livery's important. I mean, I could go for a big fancy... Ooh, actually, let's try and fancy this up a little bit. So I'm gonna have both the right arm and the right item are gonna have a slightly different color. Yeah, no worries. Hey, Index Gnome. All the good people are here tonight. Thank you very much. Okay, lower body. So some loss of heat dissipation, but again, better stability overall. So it's really hard to say. It's really hard to say I need to keep these. So again, a lot of the differences that we're seeing here are being driven by the fact that I'm replacing, very low level parts with high tier ones. So it's going to be a very, very lumpy upgrade path for most of my units, but I'm okay with that. It's one of the reasons why we're going into these dangerous areas, is to see if we can come off with some fancy loot. I think we might have had an upgrade to the... Well, this assault rifle's already pretty good. Yeah. Okay. So I'm not crazy about the loss of heat dissipation, but I do like the improvement to my overall survivability, so we're going to stick that arrow arm on it. The right arm... Yeah, that doesn't quite work for me. And very unlikely that we're going to get any better legs. Okay, so again, we adjust the livery. And then it's party time. Trying to think if there's something fancier I can do. That's the Johnny Big Time mech. He likes black and blue. Or is that black and red? I'm partial to black and yellow, actually, but... No identification received. Targets closing in. Continue closing in. Reinforcements needed. Reinforcements in 2 turns. We can pick up some bee camouflage. You installed Stellaris again, not played it for 6 months or so, so getting... Hey, yeah, that's what I found, is the with the higher difficulty for myself, I actually really struggled. Delves, I'm pretty sure it was Delves, sent out the a couple Stellaris screenshots. Okay, so it's pretty easy to get the objectives. Let's start by seeing who's targeted. So it looks like we got 2 mechs and then some turrets that are coming after us. It does look like somebody's attacking the... It does look like somebody's attacking the hammer, but they're also attacking it through buildings, so I don't need to fear the attack. What I think I'm just going to do is I'm going to... Oh, nope, they're out of range. So I'll just wait for them to get in range. Close enough. Not who I wanted to attack. So basically, this gives me a small window in which my teammates can avoid, avoid getting blasted by the big gun. Hang on, what's the range on this? Yeah, gotta. Gonna hop down. So this is going to be kind of funny, right? We just hop down to hop back up again, and we open fire with the machine gun. So I am a little curious as to whether or not I'm going to be able to get my melee unit to sort of slide around and hit the hit this unit over here. We'll find that out over time. And if I want to try and get an objective, I think it's a little more risk than I want to assume with my Sleipnir, so we can still get where we need to go. And then what I'm going to try and do is, as I move, take the shots that I can. Yeah. I think that's about as good as I'm going to get on the heat side. So the last thing we want to do is see whether or not you can make a third model of a cool mech. Long time since you made a mech. Oh, like 3D printing, or are you kind of referring to like Blender or 3D Studio Max? Okay, this might work. So again, we just run forward. I let the buildings act as cover for my melee unit. So they very briefly get a window in which they're able to fire at me. So I just do a small adjustment. I don't think they're going to be there. So let's try one of these. For non-work, you prefer Blender. Okay. So last thing I just want to check is... Okay, so I do seem to wind up with a small window where they're attacking me, but I think I can live with it. I mean, it's a sniper rifle, so there is a minor concern, but they'll probably have already taken the shot. So let's see how it goes. I think I am going to do a slow-mo on this. Yeah, so hit the building. Doesn't say how many bullets. I should have checked that ahead of time. Oh, they did hit us. Oh, Jesus! They're gonna collide. That's a pity. Okay, so I'm going to do my best melee-wise. I'll just try and hit where I can. It's going to result in some heat damage for me, I think. Ooh, they're going to try and hit me with a sniper rifle, too. The slow motion is definitely a treat. Okay, so I kind of got to get out of the danger zone. The good news is that this thing, ooh. This thing's taken a fair amount of damage, so it's quite likely we're going to be able to take it out this turn. I did not appreciate how much heat I'd be generating. So I'm pretty sure the Sleipnir needs to stay put. Oh, maybe not. So I'll take the shots that I can with this unit. Okay, yeah, that's still a window in which I can make stuff work. So the only problem with this is that none of this really stops this unit from attacking. So how long is it going to take me to cool down off of... Yeah, that's not happening. Okay, so if I just mosey on over... I think that's as good as I can go for, so let's see... I want to see what happens over here, and then what the fate of the sniper is. Oh, Jesus Christ! Alright, we did take out that unit. That's two for two on the on the melee attacks here. This is getting embarrassing. Dropping in, command is getting impatient. Let's get this over and done with. Okay, so let's just let's make sure the Sleipnir's doing what it needs to do. So I'm going to stay out of the range of the turret. The reinforcements are arriving over here. So it seems to me like the Sleipnir is kind of best served shooting the turret. All right, thanks, Delves. I hope you have a good one. We'll see you when you stop by next. There is a side of me that just wants to let her rip on the new arrivals, but it does look like, yeah, this unit does have a sniper rifle, so it's probably better for me to just walk it off. If I can, though, I'd like to prep a prep a proper welcome. Okay, does that actually make sense? Because that's pretty far out of the range. Yeah, that's not happening. So I'm just going to reorient them towards making these other units sad. I feel like a bit of a goof doing the movements the way that I did, but I really do not want to be walking into sniper fire. Okay, I'm gonna take cover behind the building. This is the one. I don't care if I take more heat damage. It doesn't stop this unit from landing it though. So we will wait out the shot, which isn't all that long. All right. There we go. That's the axe I remember. Alright, commander, the base is circled around the perimeter. To the perimeter. We're ready to pick up the squad if needed. Oh. The drone has a rough location of the crate, but we're going to need another ping to ensure it's picked up. Stay at this location to finish this. So we're gonna... Oh, sorry, Index Gnome. I think I misunderstand the reference. Where's ED209? I'm not sure what you mean. So at this point here, I know I'm going to be stuck in the position, so we might as well take whatever damage we can on the turret. Let's see, so we've got a marksman rifle and a sniper. So same story as before. We basically want to try and avoid whatever damage they've got planned for us. I think in this case here, I'm just gonna put a building between myself and the enemy, and well, you know what? I bet I can dash. So just because there's a chance that the shots might go through, I will put a shield up for at least most of the attack. So I'll wait it out, and then I'm going to peek around the corner and hit the bad guys with my machine gun. Wait, really? That's probably because it was overlapping with the movement. So this is going to be a little awkward for the hammer, just simply because they are the target of the marksman rifle. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to dash around the side. And now what I get to do is open up on this. Oh. Yeah, so we get a nice big broad hit on the sniper over here. So then the last question is, what do I do with my melee unit? And I do want to try and practice something here. So they'll be up at the 3.7 mark. So I want to see if it's viable to just like beat the crap out of these things and like never let them back up, because that's gonna, if that happens, then I have a new tool in the toolbox. All right. Wow, that went through. Good thing I had the shield up. Oh no, I just didn't position them right. Okay, so this is gonna sting at the end. Right when they're ready to get up. Oh, gotcha. I have seen RoboCop, but I didn't recognize the reference. Tee. All right. That is going to be ridiculously unfair. But all right, so my arm is almost obliterated, and shield's down to half health. All right, the crate is locked on. Our drone has the coordinates and should be descending any second now. So I'm already going to be finishing off the shots, but clearly I need to, I need to bring this unit into the fight as soon as it's viable. Okay, so the question is, looks like I'm safe for the duration of my shots. Again, purely in the interests of self-preservation, I will keep the shield up. So, of course, one of the drawbacks here is that I'm standing in the middle of a field with the gun up, so if somebody does want to do a retaliatory strike on me next turn, I'm not going to be able to defend myself in this area. But I do have 2 units to sort of immediately deal with any threats, and then, of course, the hammer is going to be ready to deliver its hits as well. So we're going to stay in place for the time being. We're going to walk off the heat. Actually, I'm curious. Might as well get a head start. And then this thing... Oh wow, it's going to do an attack on the hammer right away. Well, that's fine. We'll just wait to the 2.8 second mark. Okay, it's a little early. Okay, that's almost perfect. This guy's done for. Yeah, knocked out. Okay, so who's he attacking is the question. All right, so they're going after the hammer. Something for me to keep in mind. Oh, but it's after the attack finishes, so it's very unlikely that this is actually going to hit. On the chance that it does, though, I'm just going to step back a little bit. Yeah, so... Oh wow, we're right at the edge of the map. Alright, well it seems to me like this is a perfect spot for the Sleipnir to just do its thing, so... Flip over the table and use it for cover. Alright, and we can probably do this at full speed. I think it's done. Oh, that's right. We need to take out the the turret still. I forgot. This is still active. Improbably so, but and then the other's on the hill. That's got a heavy launcher, so we could probably afford to do... Probably afford to do sort of like a hit and run, but... I'd be astonished if this thing's still standing by the time the rest of the team gets there. Have I ever played Flashpoint campaign? No, I don't think I've even heard of it. Sorry, I know I didn't have that much to say at the end, but it was really just kind of clean up at that point. So, I think probably I'm going to want to take the... intact parts for a start, for sure. I don't really see a lot of value in taking the grays anymore. So we'll scrap the body parts. Now this stuff's a little bit harder to decide. Okay, we can afford it, so let's scrap the rest. Again, I'm going to start by scrapping grays, and then... Okay, that's right at the limit. Alright, we seem to do okay there. Let's head straight to the camp. Now, I'm a little worried that our repairs may not finish in time. Alright, fine. You all can have a small break. There you go. The part of this game where you issue orders and then have to wait and see as it unfolds reminds you of that game. Okay, yeah. The one that I sort of think of when it comes to that format, and again, I want to be really clear that this, in one sense, is a good comparison, and in another sense is a terrible comparison, but I always come back to the Frozen games by Mode 7, so Frozen Synapse, Frozen Cortex, and Frozen Synapse 2. And the reason why I mention that is, in that game, you will also have this time frame. So it's a few seconds of action, and you're going to line up all of your units' actions and sort of, you know, you're going to have your, you know, with varying degrees of detail, you're going to be able to give your units orders in terms of what they'll do. And a large part of the satisfaction is seeing the plan play out. The difference with that game, though, is that you do not have perfect information about what your opponent's going to do. If I recall correctly, whenever I play multiplayer, actually, it's in a dark mode, so you can't even see the enemy units. You know, I think it will give you a record of where they were previously, but that's about as much information as you have. So obviously that is a very different kind of game from Phantom Brigade, where you have near perfect information of what's going to happen. I say near perfect because, as we know, there will be you know, there will be actions that you can take that will alter the outcomes. So if a unit gets disabled partway through, you're going to have a very different sort of different turn than what you maybe saw on the planning phase. So, you know, in one side, I suppose the question that you'd ask yourself is, like, what do you think is the engine that really drives the game? I'd say a good majority of your experience playing Frozen Synapse is the anticipating the enemy's movements part. And so as part of the satisfaction of seeing your plan play out is the confirmation as to whether or not you were right. And in that sense, it's actually not that similar to Phantom Brigade at all. In Phantom Brigade, you know, you should already know that your plan's a really good one, and you just simply get to realize how awesome it was when everything plays out. Obviously, I mean, there's a few surprises, right? Like, you know, does the item hit, or does the missile hit you, or something like that? But you know, when I think about sort of how I think about the strategizing component, I don't really think about Frozen Synapse as much as I think about something like Into the Breach, which also gives you perfect information. I know most of you have heard me say that like 100 times, so I'm sure it's not very interesting to hear me say it 101, but I have a limited repertoire, okay? So seems to me like this is a good arm to equip. We lose a bit of barrel. Oh yeah, no, we definitely get more survivability out of this. So the question is this the unit I want to put it on, though? So the Stalwart is the one that's probably going to be drawing a lot of fire. So let's start there. A small reduction in power, but better on heat dissipation. All of this seems to be a better torso in general. So I think I'm going to go with the Nox light upper body. Okay, is it a newer game, Index Gnome, or is it something that's been out for a while and I just, I've been too stuck in my own world to see what's going on. I also got to remember to start scrapping some of this stuff. It's not doing me any good in the inventory. Okay, so we're currently have a level 2 arm. I feel like we can do better. Interesting. So it's all heavier. Well, it's probably time to rip off the Band-Aid. So we're still faster than we were before. Obviously, we'll have to change livery. Right arm's probably a good one for... Oh, yeah, that's going to be where the cost comes in. Eh, we're still above 10. I can live with that. Okay, so now we'll see what the rest of the loadouts can work with. Oh, 2013. This does give me better mass. It's that regen core that's throwing me off. I think I'm going to leave it. Unless there's a better handgun. No. Arms. Okay, so we lose mass, but we gain heat dissipation. I think I'm good there. I think we had gray arms, if I remember correctly. Although nothing saying we have to stick with the old format. I don't know, I kind of prefer the slightly more matte look. So, as players, you can only do so much of the thinking, right? If you remove one thing from the game, you can focus more on the other stuff. I mean, there's some games that I really like that throw everything at you. But, I mean, again, it sort of depends on... it depends on a few things, I think. You know, like, it would seem to me that if I was trying to figure out whether or not something would work in Phantom Brigade or not, I would probably be spending a little bit less time appreciating like how awesome everything looks. So much of this game is just kind of that cinematic part of the experience where I've already done the hard work of figuring out my turn, and so the payoff is the pure satisfaction of watching that all be realized. You know, I'm fond of Frozen Synapse, but you know, the thing that's selling it is not really the visuals. Although I think Frozen Cortex is a lot of fun to watch. You know, especially when you have like a really good play and you just like see, you know, you just really see one of your you know, your players just just really hammer into a guy. I think that is quite satisfying. I should probably show you. I've done Frozen Cortex in the past, but I feel like we're probably due for another round of that at some point. But yeah, like, so to me, it's part of it is just a question in terms of, you know, what am I trying to get out of this experience? And in the case of you know, in the case of these games, I just think that my expectations going into man, that's so weird that an uncommon is so much, like, it's only a 1 level difference between the two of them, and yet the uncommon seems to be pretty strong. Well, I guess it's the dissipation. You know what? Dissipation's really helped me on this one, so maybe we'll leave it. I think I'm probably just gonna stick with the loadout I already have, if I'm completely honest. I mean, slightly beefier arm wouldn't be terrible. So we're currently at 23. Yeah, we're still above 20. Yeah, I mean, most of the time whenever I do these comparisons, it's really just for, you know, for the sake of trying to help people sort of navigate, you know, how it, I guess, kind of trying to answer the question, like, how interested should I be in this game, for lack of any better terms. Like, I think sometimes just being able to kind of put a box around a particular experience. Oh, you know what? I should probably keep some spares. Nah. We'll ditch the grays and anything in the low single digits. But yeah, no, I mostly this is just kind of in service of trying to get the conversation going about what sort of experience you want. Is one of the reasons why I take the time to sort of draw the distinction between the two. It's like when you watch Avatar the first time, you did not do it in hope for an amazing story. You just wanted to see all the cool animations and the effects. I think people are really unfair to Avatar, and I think the exact same thing happened to Titanic. Oh, I love this song. This is like probably my favorite song on the soundtrack. So I can remember for a while when the most common view I would hear about Titanic was overrated. Now I've watched Titanic recently, and I think there was a time where I maybe thought it was a good movie. My opinion of Titanic now is that it is a masterpiece. And actually, if you guys want to hear me nerd out on a soundtrack, like I do know how to play instruments. I have not played recently. Is this the Bill Burr thing again? Everybody loves quoting that routine to me again. I don't know why. Like, I thought that was an old routine that he did. But I don't know. I keep hearing this about Titanic. Anyways, like it is a fantastic movie, and again, particularly the score. James Horner, like, I know Hans Zimmer is a very deservedly well-regarded composer. I think James Horner does not get nearly enough credit for his work on film scores. And again, like I've played piano, I've played trumpet. I'm trying to get back into piano actually, because I love keyboards, piano specifically, but obviously I live in an apartment, so keyboard's a little bit better for me. But yeah, like Titanic is a really incredible movie, but there was a really long time, I feel, where people were, you know, just too cool for it. And I suspect it was because at the time it was like the highest grossing movie ever. And I think this opinion has now, shifted to Avatar. And yet I can remember watching Avatar, and I was utterly convinced that it would be impossible to make a movie that wasn't 3D after that. Like, it was such an incredible experience that I just felt that there was just no future for anything that was, that wasn't 3D. Now, clearly that was a terrible take, because everything that came after Avatar was not Avatar. And, it didn't, the promise of the technology wasn't really realized by the films that came after. But I guess the simplest thing that I can say about Avatar is, like, I think there's a reason why, indigenous rights groups in particular have really found that film helpful in sort of making their point. Now, again, this is more in the, in the wider world. But, for everyone who wants to kind of talk about the defects of Avatar's story, I think there's a really important thing, which is it's always been true that James Cameron's movies have been very, very smart. Like, Terminator is a much more clever movie than maybe the title or even the idea of it being an Arnold Schwarzenegger sort of action vehicle would suggest it would be. And I think it's always been true that James Cameron's movies have very much punched above their weight. But I think in particular in the case of Avatar that it's a story that is actually best communicated through I guess a simple telling, for lack of a better term. I think the movie's actually probably better for it as well. I think in this case here that it's a, for everybody who kind of wants that thing to be some very, deep and subtle, like, they want it to be like a Martin Scorsese movie where, like, it signposts all of the imagery for them and, like, it makes them feel smart having watched it. And yet I haven't watched it recently, I'll admit, but, like, I've always had the opinion that it is a remarkably entertaining movie. And I think whether or not it tells its story effectively, I kind of think is academic, just simply because the people who need to get that message out have actually been able to communicate what they're trying to do through talking about Avatar, this really popular big budget movie. And in that sense, I can only really view that story as a success. You see, Canada had some elections. I trust you did your duty to disrupt the democratic process and bring about the revolution, comrade. I mean, the People's Party is the communist one, right? How you doing, Uncle Cranky? For those of you who do not know him, Uncle Cranky is a New Zealand... he's originally from Australia, based in New Zealand now. Been doing a lot of Remnant from the Ashes, and making... Actually, so I didn't get to see him take out the boss that he was fighting at the time. Uncle Cranky definitely has a great love of Dark Souls-style games, which I think Remnant from the Ashes kind of gets a claim to. It's not his exclusive territory, but definitely one that I feel like he... I feel it's probably the area he feels most comfortable. I don't know if you streamed yesterday. I actually have been finally getting to bed at a proper hour. So either way, for those of you who want to check him out, there is his link. Titanic was not your type of movie when you watched it back when it came out. Might have changed now, but you don't know. I've never said it's a bad movie. Yeah, I certainly don't mean to suggest that you did, but I do think though that the tendency, like, the same thing that happened. What I'm saying is, I think the same thing that happened to Titanic has now happened to Avatar, and more importantly, I actually think James Cameron knows this, because I believe he has said about Avatar 2. He said, "Is like, if you liked Avatar, you'll like Avatar 2. If you didn't like Avatar, you probably won't like Avatar 2." if you liked Avatar and then said you didn't like Avatar, you'll probably like Avatar too. So, and I think that's probably right. I'm trying to see. So I'm taking a bit of a risk, like throwing my Axeman in front of the heavy cannon, but oh, it's totally worth it. Okay, so I'm gonna get targeted over here, so we'll run. Well, you know what? I can probably run behind the hills, actually. Yep. Actually, Uncle Cranky's also done XCOM, so I assume that when Phantom Brigade is available on Steam, he'll immediately pick it up and play it. But yeah, for those of you wondering why Uncle Cranky's talking about the Canadian election, it's because he's a really big fan of Justin Trudeau, and he's a little worried that he may not get re-elected, so he kind of just wanted to check in and make sure that the Prime Minister with the fancy socks got his job back. All right. I really like the soundtrack. This time, let's do it at full speed. I'm just gonna try and find the best angle. So, the trees will obstruct things a little bit, but it will let me see the units behind the cover. Ah! We missed. But really good concussive damage. So we're just gonna stay put, and we're gonna just continue shooting at this. So this is my effort at kind of survival. They're probably gonna hit me with their pistol, but I'll do what I can. Okay, so we're gonna stay put here. And then I'm going to sort of lumber up to the... I'm eventually going to put them on high ground. And then it seems like the Sleipnir is being ignored. This might be a nice opportunity for me to try and capitalize on the... Oh, you know what? I should probably... Yeah, I should focus on this unit where I can. Okay, this one we'll do in slow-mo. Oh my god, that looked so good. As soon as he draws the gun, the axe comes in. Probably my favorite moments are when you have a melee strike that's coming in just before an enemy, like fires, because you get to see them like draw their weapon and then have the melee come in to stop it. I just think it's that is the stuff that I live for in this game. All right, nobody is running, but we do have somebody who's defending with a shield. So that shield's going against the Sleipnir, and then they do an attack at the very end. So, with that in mind, we'll start with the shotgun to the back. Okay, so they want their revenge on this this unit right away. So, good news is we get a good shot to the back on them almost instantaneously, and they're going to stay put firing at that unit, which is fine by me. So we'll sit here. Just make sure that there's... I want to have as tight of a window as I can on this on these shots, because I am going to need to try and get to cover. So if I just walk around like this... Yeah, this doesn't work. So if I try to walk away like that... They shoot the side of a hill. Cool. Okay, so... So the reason why I'm moving right away on this one is that there's no damage that's coming in to hit this unit here. What I want to do instead is I want to try and get the... I want to try and get whatever unit is available to attack... sort of attack... attack the unit when it's looking in the wrong direction. I think I'm just going to let this unit limp away for a little while. It's a bit of a weak turn, but it's just because... Well, actually, we can bring him in at the very end, I suppose. Does that actually hit? I hope so. You know what? I don't think I did anything. Yeah, I didn't do anything with this unit after the turn. That was silly of me. I think we'll take this one out to concussion. Get a little stretching. This is so sad to see none of this hit. Remember how I said we were going to get this one down to concussion? That was really stupid of me to say. Did I say stupid? I meant brilliant. Hey, where do you think you're going? Please crash into the building. You will make my day if you crash into the building. Just shy of it. Oh wow, he stumbled but was ready to attack immediately afterwards. Okay, well, there is only one reply to that. It's a marksman rifle, so I don't really think I have that much to fear from it, but just as a precaution. I also want to prep for the arrival of the other bad guys, so we will hop up onto the roof. Then I'll get the rest of the team in position. That's not where I want to go. Box art right here. Oh, but that doesn't seem to count as a knockdown again. Haven't lost any parts yet, though. Wow, they really want him. They really want me bad. Okay, so what I'm going to do with the Sleipnir, I'm actually just going to straight up dodge the attack. For the rest of the crew, we're going to wait for them to show themselves. So what we're also going to do here is I'm going to just keep moving back until, so see how like it kind of turns into a dotted line here. Now, here it says that I can see all the way through. I'm actually going to wait till I see the ray sort of like I want to make sure that it's actually past. Irrepressible, how you doing? Don't think I want to do anything with the heavy weapon right now, but doesn't hurt to get a little more height. I was really hoping that this unit would collide with the building and we get to see some excitement. And then I suppose the question is, can I hit him one more time with my... Those heat markers are really more guidelines than anything. Irrepressible, you are far more dedicated to this subject than I am. Good for you. So I'm kind of curious why I don't knock this thing down anymore. Yeah, so I'm due for one in the Bank of Ireland next month, but I just as an observer, not as a presenter. But I don't know. It's good to if there isn't somebody from like my group, I kind of feel like that's not great. And then sort of second, I think, it doesn't hurt to be like, if nothing gets said, well, that's fine. You just catch up on something else that you wanted to do. But sometimes it's just nice to have the verification that nothing was said. Okay, who do they hate? Okay, they definitely hate this unit. Fair enough. I might actually lose my right arm. Oh, if I lose the right arm, I'm going to lose the weapon as well. So let's tilt things to my favor a little bit. Okay, that won't do. Because you never know when they might do a surprise interest rate round. Well, the interest rate announcements aren't that big of a worry for me, just because, like, I'm pretty sure the newspapers will cover that. I mean, just the same way I got to find out who was playing what character from everyone on Twitter. Oof, that's ugly. That gives me more protection than the alternative. Okay, so next thing I want to do is make sure I don't hit my own guy. So I don't think there's much we can do. There's not much we can do about the first attack, but the follow-up I feel like we should be able to prevent. And then the reinforcements arrive next turn, so we kind of want to make sure we're ready for those. Ooh, he doesn't have order. I'm assuming that's the hammer. Yeah, I should probably be doing more with this Sleipnir. Oh, yeah, we wiped that thing out. Rebel units eliminated the garrison, requiring tactical relocation for a better approach vector. Okay, oh yeah, I forgot. You actually get to... yeah, retreat before the enemy can respond with reinforcements. Making a strike like this and escaping would be a victory. Extraction possible, move your units to the highlighted location to gain a victory, or stay and eliminate hostiles for bigger rewards. And then, so the question right now is, can I get to this area in 3 turns? And honestly, from here, probably not. So in this case, I'm actually just I'm gonna stay put. I'm gonna move my units to sort of where I want them to be. I am gonna do something a little cheeky. I am not going to put the melee unit on a roof, but everything else is... Oh, yeah, so... And then here, we're just going to stay put. When this part comes up and you're in the middle of a firefight, you are utterly convinced that there will never be a game as good as this one. I promise you, this is the reason this is my favorite track. Okay, so we've got... What a persistent bunch. Command won't commit any more drop squads to the site, so let's get this over with. Alright, they have their own big guns. So... let's give them a proper greeting. I'm going to take this right to the edge, because the thing is, I do not want this thing to cross over the 5-second mark. Oh wow, they really timed that. So you can get one jump and then you can let her rip. So I don't actually want my units sort of caught out like that. So probably unsurprisingly, we are repositioning. And I think in this case here, it's probably better for me. This is almost certainly going to be packing a shotgun. But I do think it's better for me to... I think we want to try and take out that... I think we want to take out that heavy weapon as early as we can. So I want to be pretty careful with my melee unit here. I don't want them to take unnecessary damage. Actually, you know what? Just do standard moves. It's very optimistic for me to think that that would turn out. I think here, yeah, we'll just do the good old-fashioned jetpack. I want to try and get as close to the action as I can, but I also don't want to overheat, so... So they're very likely going to use the heavy on this unit. Let's watch it from the drop. It's actually kind of neat to see them up there. Oh god, this was a mistake! Actually, they took a lot of damage off of that. Like, that wasn't that threatening. Whoa! I should have been paying attention. Oh, man. Well, you know what? I probably would have made the same choice anyway. But man... that just complicated my life immensely. So we're going to be burning the whole way down. Because this is going to be a big gun firing at me, I probably can't rely on this cover. So let's just make sure nothing can get through. Yeah, that works for me. So I don't get to fire, but that's fine. It gives me a chance to cool down. So this unit... okay, so they're focusing on my melee unit. So the first thing I want to try and do is take it out with a melee strike. This seems more likely than any of the alternatives. And I think we're going to burn the boats on this one. This has to land, or I get nailed. Okay, the one thing I can do to make my life a little easier is I'll turn my back. That way my arm's probably going to be a bit safer. But I can probably give my my other unit a little more flexibility there. So because there's going to be a melee strike, I think I'm actually going to leave this unit to... I think it wouldn't hurt for me to actually focus on damaging this unit. So it's sort of a shift in priorities, but not a terrible one. And if I jump up again, do I get hit by snipers? I do not. I kind of question the decision to let a machine gun attack roll over the 2 turns, but knocked him straight out of the world. I really want to see him all crumpled. Okay. So everybody's just got a whole lot of breathing room there. Okay, so this unit's still a threat. It's going to open fire on my machine gunner. But there's something really important about that fact. Because they are going to be located over here, I just need to run behind the hill and I know I'm protected. It's like, this is totally fine. 1-4, how you doing? So the next big thing for me... Whoa, what happened here? They lost an arm, which means I lost the heavy, it means I lost the heavy weapon. I really should have been paying attention there. So it looks like one of the shots did actually get through. That really sucks for me. So there's nothing for this unit to do right now. We're just gonna get out of the combat zone. It seems like that happened really recently, too. That's a shame. Hopefully the cost of recovering that stuff isn't more than what it would cost to deal with the reinforcements, because I'm going to feel particularly embarrassed if that's the case. So let's try not to lose any more body parts on this mission. If I can get the melee unit in amongst the snipers, it's pretty much game over. But easier said than done. Okay, I also need to capitalize on the Vulcan's decision to focus on my... Sorry, what is this called? The Juggernaut's decision to focus on my... focus on my machine gunner. Not gonna overheat. Okay, no, that's fine. I was like, I don't quite think that positioning quite works. I'm not quite sure why this is crashing either, but it looks like it really wants to kill my melee unit now, which is inconvenient for me. Okay, so the approach I'm going to take here, I'm going to snake the melee around... Oh, hang on. This is a little more devious than I thought it would be, actually. That's way too long. Okay, I'm not going to be able to prevent the attack, but I will be able to halt it. Well, sort of. So the idea here is I want to get this unit in somewhere where they're protected from this attack, but they can still open fire on the enemy unit. They do wind up hitting the hill just at the sort of the tail end of that. And my... So the drawback on this one is that the fact that I'm actually doing a melee attack here causes this unit... Basically, it causes the fire to sort of move over on the side. However, if I can take out its arm, we're golden. So with the power of sidearms, okay. Priority number 1. Can we take this thing out of the hole? Oh, who doesn't have orders? Ah, yes. I'm still mad about losing that gun. Sorry, you're doing okay? Back to work doing your second month after trying to repair your leg 2.5 years completely. My God, it's far from big open hole that you had last time and no more pain. Oh, that's great to hear. You now wear nice long compression stockings that gets your blood where it belongs. That's great to hear that you're doing well. Or better, at least. I'll leave it to you to say well. Brilliant. There's some weird stuff happening. If you've ever wondered what a frictionless environment looks like from your school textbooks. All right. So I'm assuming this guy's going to eject. Yeah. So let's get the Sleipnir onto bigger and better things. Looks like this unit's not doing that much as well. They're just trying to get a revenge shot on the melee unit, and that's that. Okay, so the game's indicating to me that I'm not going to trip over that body. I'm going to take it at its word. But I will be very disappointed if that doesn't turn out. Yeah, no point in forcing the issue there. Okay, so one of the things I want to do is make sure that I am sufficiently blocked. I'll give him to the 3.4 mark. And we've got our left-hand side showing, so that should help with the... feel like that should cover us on the... betcha I can... yeah, that works fine. So there might be a little bit of a heat concern. Yeah, that works there. Alright, yeah, nice little crossfire. Well, this isn't gonna work. Oh, maybe it will. Man, they really like shooting through hill. Oh, I know why they want to shoot through the hill. It's so they don't, I'm gonna guess I crashed. I don't feel like this unit's where it should be. Probably should have paid closer attention to that. I'm assuming they're trying to shoot through the hill because they think that's where I'm gonna... It's kind of like where they think I'm gonna be. Okay, so... yeah, that's safe for the Sleipnir. Okay, that works for me. They're gonna want to attack at the 3-second mark, so again, it's a little risky to do this, but I feel like that gives them quite a bit of time to prepare too, so the one thing I would like to do though is see if there's a way of yeah, that doesn't work. Okay, so if I just wait like a little bit. Well, I'll just say that this is prepped for the next round. And possibly something that damages my melee unit, but... okay, so that unit crashed. This unit didn't move at all. What is going on with this unit? Oh. I probably should have anticipated that. That's out of range. So I am a little worried about this attack, just because if you look at the amount of damage this does, 977 on a full volley, like that's enough to kill my shield. So I'm also, I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move in addition to doing the attack, and what I want to try and do is, like, so I kind of want it to be orthogonal to the vector of the attack. So if they're attacking like this, then I want to be moving sort of like this. How am I doing? Perhaps rich and famous in the world of numbers with a big crypto money portfolio? No, I don't actually know. Like, I'm willing. So I am willing to accept. I'm willing to accept that maybe I don't know what's going on with that sort of stuff. but like my private valuation of cryptocurrency is basically zero. So like that is definitely not, that's definitely not for me. You know, that doesn't mean that other people can't find some benefit from it. Like obviously, you know, I'm not an investment advisor, so clearly I have no business telling anyone else what they should feel about it. But like, you know, I personally don't have that much at stake for that particular asset class, let's say. I'll put up the shield again just in case. So like the logic behind this one. Hey, Crack Steve, how you doing? But I'm also not famous, which I think is a fairly desirable state of affairs. Like, okay, I put it to you this way. I would like it. So first of all, I need to write more because it's been a very long time since I put something on the blog. One thing that would be sort of nice would be that I have noticed that there is an unfortunate correlation with being well known and people taking you seriously, which in most circumstances doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, right? Like I sort of understand, like Alan Moore's got this really interesting point of view, which was, you know, historically very few people would see your image unless you were like the king or the pope or something like that. And of course now it's not very hard for people to like for everyone to sort of know who you are, and that, you know, we definitely, the level of important, like, so the level of let's say significance that someone has is not necessarily related to how often you see them, but our structures have sort of maybe been built around you know, around the idea that you sort of, if you know about someone, presumably they've done something very noteworthy. And it's kind of funny because obviously we do put a high value on sort of scientific studies, right? So, you know, chances are most people don't know the academics behind a lot of these studies. And I know that there is a fairly, I mean, for some subjects, there is a fairly healthy dose of skepticism. So I think most dietary advice now, people view with a degree of skepticism. I just kind of think that there's just been too much that's kind of come out that's not really been all that credible. And so, you know, but generally, like when you see in a news story or something, is, you know, X, you know, a study has said ... you know, you're like, oh, okay, well, the scientists know what they're doing, so, you know, it must be right. And but you know, for the most part, like people listen to you more if like you're well known, and I think most of the stuff that I've written kind of holds up. Sometimes, I mean, there's definitely some stuff where I'm like, okay, well, you know, if I could do it again, I'd probably make that point differently. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with what I've put out there. But as a whole, I tend to think that the writing stuff that I do is the less appreciated of what I do. And again, that's not intended to be like a poor me thing. But on the fame thing, it's actually I am of the opinion that I don't necessarily think it's all that bad of a thing. And I know you're just kind of like making a side comment, but it's a chance for me to talk a little bit about. I don't get a chance to talk about like popularity stuff because like if I just talk about it as relates to myself out of the blue, then I kind of sound full of myself. But if we get a chance to talk about it in general, suddenly it becomes interesting. But I don't know, like in my opinion, I do think that I'm not entirely sure fame's really worth it nowadays. Like if you think of the idea of like the main character on Twitter, that concept, like definitely that's not the kind of fame that you want. And I think you can often get by and be quite happy as an unknown person. So, anyway. You just finished watching a new episode of the Marvel show What If? What is What If about? I don't have Disney Plus, although I did, I gotta remember to do that on the 30th.